Hey there gamers, DreamcastGuy here. Today we're talking about Xbox because at this point, Game Pass is dead. They just announced a new big change to Xbox Game Pass. They're raising the price big time. They're removing games from most of the tiers, but it's also worse than that. They're floating the idea officially, this is from Microsoft, of next year, if you want cheap Game Pass, you can get it by watching ads, actually making it so commercials will play on your Xbox. Can you imagine playing a game and a freaking ad for Doritos or Mountain Dew pops up? This is actually just mind-blowing, but let's take a look at it because the entire internet is instantly saying, yeah, rest in peace Xbox, because if raising the price of the console twice in 6 months wasn't enough, this is definitely the last nail in the coffin. But let's get into it. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I've been editing this big review for Ghost of Yotei on PS5 Pro. That's coming out later today, but I wanted to just take a break from the editing to talk about this because it's honestly just insane. Microsoft confirms major changes to Game Pass. Now, let's just start with the short and sweet of it. They're changing the name. So now Game Pass Core is now Game Pass Essential. Game Pass Standard is now Game Pass Premium. Game Pass PC is now also just called Game Pass Premium. Game Pass Ultimate is now $30 a month. $30 a month. Now keep in mind, if you want day and date, the whole selling point of Xbox Game Pass is one thing only. Instead of buying games for $70 or $60, instead you get every game instantly day one. But now you only get that from the $30 tier. And the reason this annoys me is that I'm not going to pretend that Xbox isn't releasing games. I actually think that Xbox has released more first-party stuff this year than they've done in quite a few years. I mean, honestly, with Indiana Jones coming out in December, that was fantastic. Honestly, Doom, the Dark Ages wasn't maybe as good as I hoped, but it was still a fun time, and I did play that on Game Pass. This is one of those things where I'm like, all right, well, I wish I just bought one or two of those games myself. Instead of paying $30 a month, I'd rather just buy those two games on an actual physical disc. But let me also just talk about this real quick. They released an ad last night talking about how great the future is going to be. It's like, oh, wow, here's an old black and white video that we've made with AI about how great the future is going to be. And everybody is pointing out the fact that in there, they have a little kid, AI, saying, man, I can't wait for the future when there's no longer discs or cartridges. And everybody is like, brother, nobody wants this. I very much like having my discs and cartridges. I would prefer to keep them. They're literally making AI stuff about how great all digital is. You will own nothing and like it. But let's go back to this. I want to look at all the reactions because I'm going back to the backlog. Pay up for the best deal in gaming. $30 a month to not own a single game. Holy moly. This is part of I feel like I have a big problem with the all digital future, still just simply because I don't like the idea of losing ownership. Sorry, the company went out of business. Sorry, something went wrong. Oh, the server shut down. I just don't like the idea that the company that made something can retroactively take it away from me after I've paid for it. That just drives me nuts. And at this point, that's the only Xbox business model, is never ever own it. Play it through rental only, right? But I want to take a look at this because honestly, all the replies, I am happy about the fact that this is so crazy. In a world where people can barely afford to live, we decide to increase the price by 50% because F you give us money. Your gaming's about to get even more expensive. God, it's just so ridiculous. I think putting Ultimate just shy of $30 is insane. Personally, I had Ultimate for a few years, but I guess today I have to cancel Game Pass as a whole. People dog on PlayStation Plus, and let's face it, PlayStation Plus is not only expensive, but the highest tier premium, probably definitely not worth it, but at least their prices are fair. I have to say that of all this stuff, the part of it that's definitely the worst to me, cheaper ad-based tier. This to me, I think this just sounds incredibly bad. I mean, to me, part of the fun of gaming is when it's this nice, seamless experience. I mean, I feel like the reason people game on console so much, more than any other things, console gaming is still bigger than PC gaming right now, and I do think a lot of that is the plug-and-play ease of use. You pick up the controller, it's auto-synced, it's auto-configured, the graphics are automatically optimized for your system, right? You just play it and play it and play it. But there's also that joy of, hey, here's my back catalog. Here's my library. Here's my games. But with Xbox, the idea of stopping your game to show you an ad, I'll be honest, if I'm playing Xbox and it pauses my game to show a commercial, I'm smashing that thing. I'm smashing it. Okay, maybe not that, but I definitely am probably going to put it on Craigslist and just try and get rid of that evil piece of cursed junk. Cheaper ad-based here, screw that. They're also thinking about making an ad that is only for streaming, time-based, and forced ads. Oh my God. If there's a literal timer on screen that says time until the next ad, like what YouTube does sometimes or what some like crappy mobile games does, this is literally one of the most annoying things I've ever heard of in my life. Look at all this. Core and standard or differential names. Man, I've had Game Pass for a while. It's going to feel weird canceling it. That's the way it goes, I guess. Ads and price increase and day one games. Literally, from putting their games on other platforms to increasing the price of their hardware twice in 6 months to making these awful changes to Game Pass, Microsoft has done a great job in encouraging everyone to not invest in Xbox. Now, I feel like this is sort of the statement I want to really laser focus on because I feel like it brings up two important points. One, investing in a console. 100%. I do think that the reason people feel so disappointed by this console generation, whether you did get the PlayStation 5 day one or whether you did get the Xbox Series X day one, is that you are making an investment. You are paying a huge chunk of money, $600, $700 to buy a console. And you're expecting a good mix of third-party games and first-party games. I don't just want to play Fortnite or Ghost of Yokai or Astrobot. I want to have a good mix of crazy cool stuff. The next Resident Evil, cool random spin-offs, Final Fantasies, right? I want to have everything. And in a lot of ways, I feel like Xbox has just gotten to a point where they're constantly trying to figure out, okay, how much can we turn up that? How much can we crank up the price of everything before we turn you away? And I feel like this sucks that the investment for Xbox is the highest for the lowest amount of quality, for payback, for product. And to me, that is incredibly annoying since really you don't even get a chance to actually own the games. But the other part of this is that I have seen a lot of people talking about the fact that what does kind of feel weird about Xbox is that I've seen some people saying that they're no longer trying to grow the brand. When it comes to Nintendo, when it comes to PlayStation, when it comes to PC, when it comes to Valve and stuff like that, clearly the idea is growth. Okay, how much can we reach out? How much can we discount games? How much can we really underprice the Steam Deck so more people want to buy it and get addicted to it and take their Steam library everywhere, right? That's the idea. But I've seen a lot of people starting to say that Xbox is no longer interested in growth. At this point, they've realized, all right, there's about 30 million Xbox players in the world. We're not going to get any more than that. We're fine. Let's just find a way to get that 30 million people and turn up the revenue on them. Let's make more pre-order crap. Let's make more games that cost you more. Let's make more increased price to Game Pass. Let's make controllers cost $100. Let's make a $1,000 handheld. The idea is instead of trying to get 50 million or 60 million players, they're going to try and get as much money for each of those 30 million players that are in a way almost held hostage by the ecosystem. These are just some off-the-cuff thoughts, but I got to admit that this feels bleak. We talk a lot about a lot of news stories on this, but I'll be honest, just the idea of this all-digital future sucks, but honestly, the idea of ads, the idea of this super expensive cost and you don't even get a chance to own it, it feels bad in a way that feels icky. I don't know. These are its off-the-cuff thoughts. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below and go watch I did a video yesterday about the Final Fantasy Tactics remake. Of course, it's perfect. Final Fantasy is like my favorite game series of all time. Go watch that video. But also, check out the Ghost of Yokai review. That's probably going up here in like 6 hours. The editing's going good. 6 hours or so. I'll see you guys later tonight. Love you and keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.